My dad refused to pay for my college unless I followed his career path, so I made my own. It started on a Sunday afternoon at the kitchen table, the smell of coffee lingering in the air. My dad was flipping through a stack of brochures I had collected from college fairs, his brow furrowed in disapproval. I had spent months preparing for this conversation, but as I sat across from him, my heart sank. I could tell from his expression that I was in for a fight. "Architecture?" he said, holding up one of the brochures like it was contaminated. "You want to study architecture?" "Yes," I said, forcing my voice to stay calm. "I've been passionate about design since I was a kid. You know that, Dad." He put the brochure down and looked at me like I was a stranger. "Passion doesn't pay bills, Mia. Engineering does. You know how hard I've worked to build this company. You have an opportunity here, and you're throwing it away for art projects?" "It's not just art," I snapped, then took a deep breath. "It's about creating spaces where people live, work, and dream. It's about leaving a mark on the world." "Leaving a mark doesn't matter if you can't pay your rent," he shot back. "If you want me to pay for your college, you'll study mechanical engineering. Otherwise, you're on your own." The ultimatum hung in the air between us, heavy and suffocating. My dad had always been a practical man, the kind who believed in hard work, stability, and tradition. He had built his engineering firm from the ground up, and I knew he wanted me to take over someday. But the thought of spending my life crunching numbers and designing machines made me feel like I was suffocating. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying the conversation over and over in my head. I had two choices: surrender to his demands or find another way to make my dreams a reality. The next morning, I made my decision. I started by researching scholarships, grants, and work-study programs. I spent hours in the library, poring over financial aid guides and sending out applications. I also picked up a part-time job at a local cafe, pulling shifts after school and on weekends. It wasn't glamorous, but every dollar I earned brought me one step closer to independence. When acceptance letters started rolling in, I felt a mix of excitement and dread. My top choice, a prestigious architecture school, offered me a partial scholarship. It wasn't enough to cover everything, but it was a start. I showed the letter to my dad, hoping he might reconsider. "Congratulations," he said, barely glancing at the letter before handing it back. "But my offer stands. Engineering or nothing." His words stung, but I refused to let them deter me. Over the summer, I worked double shifts at the cafe and took on freelance graphic design projects to make ends meet. My days were long, and my nights were even longer, but every sacrifice felt worth it when I thought about standing in front of a drafting table, bringing my designs to life. When September rolled around, I packed my bags and moved into a tiny dorm room on campus. It wasn't much, a twin bed, a desk, and a shared bathroom down the hall, but to me, it was freedom. The first few weeks were tough. I juggled classes, work, and a constant stream of financial worries. There were nights when I stayed up until dawn finishing projects, fueled by instant noodles and sheer determination. But for the first time in my life, I felt alive. I threw myself into my studies, pouring my heart into every blueprint, every model, every presentation. My professors noticed my dedication and began recommending me for internships and competitions. Slowly but surely, my network grew, and so did my confidence. One day, about halfway through my second year, I received an email from a major design firm. They had seen one of my projects at a student showcase and wanted to offer me a paid internship. I couldn't believe it. This was the break I had been working toward, proof that my gamble was paying off. When I told my dad about the internship, he was silent for a long moment. Finally, he said, "I hope you know what you're doing, Mia." "I do," I said firmly. By the time I graduated, I had a portfolio full of impressive projects, a network of industry contacts, and a job offer from the same firm where I had interned. I didn't need my dad's money or approval anymore. I had built my own path, brick by brick, and it felt incredible. A few years later, I invited my dad to visit one of my completed projects, a community center in our hometown. As we walked through the building, I could see the pride in his eyes, even though he tried to hide it. You did all this on your own, he said, his voice tinged with both admiration and regret. I did, I said, smiling. For the first time, I realized that while my dad and I might never see eye to eye, I didn't need his validation. I had proven to myself, and to him, that I could chase my dreams and make them real. And that was more than enough.